Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bookercast, the podcast where books come to life.
And I'm so excited to dive into another amazing story with all of you.
Whether you're a bookworm or just love a good story, this is the place for you.
Every episode, we explore incredible books, talk about their stories and characters, and share insights that'll make you fall in love with reading all over again.
All right, let's not keep you waiting any longer. Get comfortable, and let's jump right into it.
Sounds good.
Welcome in, everyone. We're diving deep today into Haruki Murakami's Kafka on the Shore.
Oh, a fantastic choice.
It's one that you all have been asking us to really get into.
Yeah.
And honestly, going back through it myself to prepare, I was like constantly highlight there's so much to unpack.
It's one of those books that really rewards you for a close reading.
Yeah.
You know, Murakami just blends genres so seamlessly that you kind of start to question what's real and what's imagined.
Totally.
It's not just little sprinkles of fantastical elements. It's like this underlying suggestion that maybe reality is just way stranger than we think.
For sure. And right from the start, we're thrown into these two narratives that seem so separate.
Yeah.
So we have 15-year-old Kafka, right, running away from home, and this like prophecy, this chilling prophecy.
Right.
And at the same time, we have Nakata, this gentle soul who can talk to cats.
Yeah. And, you know, some people might think of that as just kind of a whimsical element, but it's really tied to, you know, a pretty traumatic event in his childhood.
The Rice Bowl Hill incident.
Yeah, exactly. The Rice Bowl Hill incident, where he's with a group of other children and they all mysteriously lose consciousness, and it seems to have unlocked something within him.
Right. And it almost turns him into this like receiver.
Yeah.
This person who's tuned into this frequency of the universe that I think most of us are kind of oblivious to.
For sure.
And that puts him on a path that eventually intersects with Kafka's,
Right.
even though they're completely unaware of each other in the beginning.
Right. And Kafka's journey is equally compelling as well.
Yeah.
He's dealing with this really strained relationship with his father, this Oedipal prophecy that's kind of hanging over him, and, you know, this deep yearning for self-discovery.
Totally. And it's so interesting how Murakami takes this like Greek myth
Right.
and uses it not literally, but as this framework to explore fate versus free will.
Exactly. Is Kafka actually going to be destined to fulfill this prophecy, or can he break free?
Yeah.
That's the tension that drives so much of his story.
Totally. And he creates this alter ego Crow who kind of acts as this source of tough love and guidance. I love when Crow tells him, your life's just begun, and there's a ton of things out in the world you've never laid eyes on. Things you never could imagine.
Yes.
It really just captures that sense of possibility and the unknown that he's stepping into.
Absolutely. And that library in Takamatsu becomes like the sanctuary for him.
Yeah.
A place where he can kind of escape his past and just delve into the world of books.
Yeah.
But it's also where he encounters those key figures that really shape his journey.
For sure.
We're talking about Oshima, the enigmatic librarian, and Miss Saiki, who carries a connection to Kafka's past that he isn't even aware of.
Their relationship is so interesting, particularly because we see Miss Saiki in her younger and older form.
Yes.
And there's this suggestion that they're linked on this level that kind of goes beyond time and physical reality.
Right.
It reminds me of that, like the living spirit concept that's present in like Japanese folklore.
It's brilliant how Murakami uses that to blur the lines between what's real and surreal. And it really makes you think about how much of what we perceive as reality is actually just shaped by our own, you know, subconscious desires and fears.
Absolutely. Do you remember that scene when Kafka first encounters Miss Saiki's living spirit, or at least a manifestation of her?
Oh, yeah.
It's so beautiful and unsettling at the same time.
It really is. And speaking of unsettling, you know, we've got to talk about Nakata's journey.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the man makes fish rain from the sky.
Yeah, it's one of the most like memorable scenes in the whole book.
It is.
And it just like shows Murakami's ability to blend the like totally normal and the totally fantastical.
He does it so seamlessly and describes it with this deadpan humor.
Yeah.
You almost believe that it could happen, but then it makes you think, what if the impossible is actually possible?
Right. What if it's just hidden beneath the surface of our everyday lives?
Exactly. And it goes back to that idea of Nakata as this receiver.
Yeah.
Someone who is tuned into those hidden currents of the universe.
Yeah. And as these two totally separate journeys unfold, we start to see these like little connections emerge.
Oh, for sure.
So things like the entrance stone, Johnny Walker, Colonel Sanders, like all these seemingly random elements they start to form this tapestry of interconnectedness.
They do. It's like all these threads of fate are slowly being drawn together, but we're not really sure where they're headed.
Yeah, and the library becomes this like point of convergence, this space where like the physical and the metaphysical kind of like collide.
Right.
I don't know if you remember those conversations between Oshima and Kafka in the library.
Oh, yeah.
Oshima was always saying these really cryptic things.
Yes.
That seem really profound, but also kind of perplexing.
Right.
Like when he says things that are open have to be shut.
Yeah. What do you make of those?
I think those statements point to this theme that's running through the book. This idea of balance and completion. So, we're always opening ourselves to new things, right? New experiences, new possibilities. But at some point, we need closure.
Right.
We need to integrate those experiences and find some meaning in them.
It's like that cycle of opening and closing that's in like everything.
Yeah, like the tide or the changing seasons.
Absolutely.
And I think it speaks to this idea of letting go of control, accepting that there are things happening, forces at play that we can't fully understand.
That acceptance is crucial for both Kafka and Nakata.
Yeah.
They both have to surrender to these journeys even when they don't understand where they're going.
Totally.
Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I am curious,
Yeah.
what is resonating with you most so far?
Well, I think for me what's really striking is how Murakami creates this world that's both familiar and completely strange at the same time.
Right.
It's like looking at our own reality through this distorted lens where the ordinary just becomes extraordinary and the impossible feels tantalizingly close.
Yeah, he's such a skilled storyteller.
Yeah.
That he can make you believe in talking cats and fish falling from the sky while also exploring these really profound questions about fate, identity, the human condition, you name it.
Exactly. And I think those questions just become even more compelling as we move into the heart of the book and witness how these two separate narratives converge.
Yeah.
But before we do that,
okay,
let's just take a moment to appreciate like the sheer beauty of Murakami's prose. His descriptions are so vivid, so evocative, they almost transport you into the story itself.
He has this amazing ability to capture even the smallest details, the textures, the sounds of everyday life, but he imbues them with this sense of mystery and wonder.
Yes.
That's like he's showing us how to see the world in a new way, revealing the magic that's always been there, just hidden in plain sight.
Totally. It's through that lens of magical realism that we start to see Kafka and Nakata's paths intertwining.
Yeah.
Do you remember that mysterious entrance stone?
Oh, yeah.
It pops up in both of their narratives.
The entrance stone becomes this really potent symbol, I think almost like a gateway between the conscious and the subconscious realms.
Yeah.
For Kafka, it represents this portal to escape his past and kind of confront his deepest fears. But for Nakata, it's more like a guidepost on this journey to fulfill a purpose that he doesn't even fully understand.
I thought it was really interesting how the stone becomes this physical thing that represents their internal struggles.
Yeah, their anxieties kind of bleeding into the physical world.
Right. And it goes back to that blurring of boundaries that Murakami does so well.
Exactly.
It makes us wonder if a stone can act as a portal to another realm.
Right.
What else is possible?
Yeah, and that blurring is also reflected in the way that time works in the novel.
Right. It's not linear.
No.
It's fluid and cyclical.
Past, present, future, they all seem to exist at the same time, and characters can move between them in a way that just completely defies how we normally understand time.
And that's super apparent in Kafka's relationship with Miss Psyche.
Totally.
There's this sense that they're connected across time.
Yeah.
That their bond goes beyond like age and physical form.
And that connection becomes even deeper when you consider the symbolism of the library.
Yeah.
Traditionally, you think of libraries as just, places to get knowledge.
Right.
But in Kafka on the Shore, they mean so much more.
Yeah, they become these liminal spaces
where
different worlds can come together.
It's not just about reading books. It's about encountering other realities.
Right.
Confronting your past.
Yeah.
Grappling with the mysteries of who you are.
And did you notice the cats?
Yeah.
Like all over the novel?
Oh, yeah. All the cats, they're not just there to be cute.
Yeah, they're not just pets.
They represent something much more mysterious.
Yeah, it's like they have this innate understanding of the unseen world.
They can just move between different realms.
Yes, slipping in and out of the shadows. They embody that mystery and otherworldliness that's in the whole book.
Totally. And then you've got Johnny Walker, this sinister figure.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's straight out of a dark fairy tale.
He's like the embodiment of evil.
Yeah. Preying on innocence.
Yeah.
twisting reality to fit his own messed up purposes.
And the fact that he's a familiar brand
Right.
just adds this layer of absurdity.
It speaks to how consumerism can just infiltrate everything.
Right, even the most sacred parts of our lives.
It can warp how we see things and what we value.
It's like this reminder that even in a world of magic and talking cats, there are still very real dangers.
Totally.
But even with all that darkness, there are these moments of beauty and connection.
Yeah, the relationship between Kafka and Oshima is a great example of that.
Yeah, they form this father-son kind of bond
Right.
that gives Kafka the guidance and support that he really needs.
And Nakata, even though he's so childlike,
Yeah,
has this incredible capacity for empathy and kindness.
he really does.
He touches everyone he meets.
Yeah, inspiring generosity, reminding us that we're all connected.
Even Colonel Sanders,
I was going to say him.
this bizarre character, he gives Nakata this strange kind of wisdom.
I know, right?
It's like Murakami saying, even the most unexpected people can teach you something.
Exactly, and it goes back to that idea that reality is so much stranger than we think.
Yeah, so many layers.
And
Yeah.
what makes Kafka on the Shore so great, I think, is how Murakami blends those fantastical elements into a story that's ultimately about human connection loss and finding meaning.
He doesn't shy away from the complexity of human emotion at all.
Kafka feels so isolated and guilty.
Yeah.
He has this longing for something.
And Nakata's trying to navigate a world that's just confusing to him.
But there's this underlying hope,
Right.
this belief that even when things are tough, human connection can bring solace and redemption.
And that hope is really beautifully expressed
I agree.
through Murakami's writing style.
Yeah.
It's lyrical, almost like poetry.
Yeah, his metaphors and imagery are amazing. It's like
Uh-huh.
he wants us to experience the world with this heightened sense of awareness.
Speaking of paying attention to those details,
Yeah.
what moments or passages have really stuck with you?
One that's really stayed with me is when Nakata walks into the library for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
He's just completely overwhelmed
He is.
by all the books.
Yeah.
Each one is like a different world, a different perspective.
It's such a powerful image.
Yeah.
It's like a metaphor for the vastness of knowledge.
And for Nakata, who spent so much of his life feeling lost,
Right.
it's a new beginning.
A fresh start.
Yeah, a chance to connect with something bigger.
I love that. And what about that scene where Kafka is listening to Miss Psyche's records?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, each song brings back a different memory, a different emotion.
Yeah, it speaks to how music can transport us through time.
It connects us with lost loves.
Yeah.
It unlocks things we've hidden away.
It reminds us that art, in all its forms, can give us meaning and connection.
It really does.
Those moments when music becomes a portal to the past.
Yeah.
When stones are gateways to other realms.
Yeah.
When cats talk in riddles,
I love it.
those are the things that make Kafka on the Shore such an unforgettable book.
It's an experience.
And Murakami invites us to just embrace the ambiguity,
Yes.
to question what we think is real, to find beauty in the unexpected.
Absolutely. And all of those surreal and magical things are just one layer.
Yeah.
At its core, Kafka on the Shore is a story about searching for who you are.
Right, about connection and purpose.
It's a story that speaks to everyone, I think.
It really does.
It goes beyond any one culture.
Yeah.
It taps into something deep within us.
Yeah, that yearning to understand ourselves,
Yeah.
to connect with others.
To make sense of this crazy world.
And I think that's why Kafka on the Shore has connected with so many readers.
Totally.
It's a mix of philosophy, mythology, and raw human emotion.
And it's all woven into a story that's both smart and moving.
Murakami asks the big questions,
He does.
but it doesn't feel heavy or academic.
Right. He keeps it playful.
He keeps it surreal.
He never loses that sense of wonder.
That mix is what makes his writing so special.
I agree.
It's not just about the strange stuff or the philosophy. It's about the raw human emotions at the center of it all.
Remember when Hoshino is reflecting on his life?
Oh, yeah, the truck driver.
Yeah, he realizes how much he's taken for granted.
Yeah, such a quiet moment.
But it's powerful.
It reminds us to appreciate what we have.
The people in our lives.
Even in a world of magic and mystery, it's those human connections that matter.
Absolutely.
So we're at a point where I want to hear what you think about the ending.
Okay.
It's left pretty open.
Yeah, a lot more questions than answers.
Murakami doesn't really give us closure or explanations.
No.
He wants us to deal with that uncertainty
Embrace the mystery.
and figure it out for ourselves.
It's part of what makes it so rewarding.
Totally.
It's a book that sticks with you.
It makes you think.
Yeah, you go back to certain parts. You try to figure out what it all means.
And it makes you look at the world differently.
It sparks your curiosity. It makes you want to find out more.
I love that.
It's one of the things that makes Murakami such a great storyteller.
Definitely. Kafka on the Shore has become this global phenomenon.
It really has.
It's been translated into over 50 languages.
Wow.
And it's been adapted into so many different art forms.
Yeah, you've got plays at operas.
I even saw there's a manga series.
I think that just shows how universal its appeal is.
Yeah, it crosses cultural boundaries.
And speaks to something really deep in all of us.
I think Murakami's able to tap into these feelings.
Yeah, like what?
Like loneliness and alienation and just that search for meaning.
Right.
His characters, even though they're quirky and in these fantastical situations,
Yeah.
they're still relatable.
You can see yourself in them.
Their struggles feel like our struggles.
And you can't forget Murakami's signature style.
Yeah.
That blend of humor and melancholy.
He can make you laugh 1 minute and then break your heart the next.
It's a tough balance to strike.
And that's what makes his writing so unique. It's not just about the surreal stuff or the philosophy.
Right.
It's about those raw human emotions that are at the heart of it all.
Do you remember that scene with Hoshino the truck driver?
Oh.
When he's thinking about his life and his relationships?
Yeah.
He realizes how much he's taken for granted.
It's such a powerful moment.
It's quiet, but it says so much.
It's like a reminder to appreciate the present moment.
And the people around us.
Exactly. Even in a world full of magic and mystery, it's those human connections that really matter most.
So true. So, I'm curious.
Yeah.
What did you think about the ending?
Oh, it's definitely open-ended.
A lot of unanswered questions.
Murakami doesn't tie everything up neatly.
Nope.
He wants us to sit with that uncertainty,
Wrestle with it a bit.
come to our own conclusions.
It's part of what makes the book so thought-provoking.
It stays with you long after you've finished reading it.
You find yourself going back to certain parts.
Trying to unpack it all,
It changes how you see the world.
it makes you more curious.
It makes you want to learn more.
That's the mark of a great storyteller.
Murakami definitely is that.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I'm feeling this sense of awe
Yeah.
and a renewed appreciation for how powerful literature can be,
It can transport you,
challenge you.
make you see things in new ways.
And Kafka on the Shore does all of that,
It speaks to that desire in us.
for connection and meaning.
That search for wonder in a world that can feel so ordinary.
And I'm guessing you have some questions of your own now.
Oh yeah. What mysteries are you still trying to solve?
What symbols or themes would you explore further?
Maybe you're thinking about the empty shell.
Or the lost cats?
Or how the line between the living and the dead is so blurred in Murakami's world.
Whatever your questions are, keep exploring.
Keep digging deeper.
Kafka on the Shore is a book that rewards that kind of close attention.
Remember, there are no right or wrong answers.
That's right.
Murakami's work is all about interpretation,
Finding your own meaning.
connecting with it in your own way.
So if you could ask Murakami one question about Kafka on the Shore,
Yeah, just one question.
what would it be?
What secrets would you want him to reveal?
Let those questions guide you on your own deep dive into Murakami's world.
It's a magical place.
Thanks for joining us on this journey.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Bookercast. We hope you enjoyed diving into it as much as we did. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Your support means the world, and we can't wait to hear your thoughts on this episode.
Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and share this episode with your fellow book lovers. And let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you. See you in the next deep dive. Bye for now, and happy reading.